Hey, Al. Sorry I'm a little late today. I know I've set a schedule and we'll typically be on time. We're kind of working into that schedule, and with my recovery from surgery, I'm a little hit and miss there, but the conversation was ongoing on the Discord server, so please feel free to join us. That information's on the VR Elite Facebook group. Please feel free to join us. And with that said, I'm playing a little bit of Destiny 1 actually, because I want to catch up on this whole chronology and history and storyline that goes with the whole Destiny thing. So, that when I take on Destiny 2 seriously, I'll understand, what I'm taking on. It only took me a few minutes to realize how absolutely cool the whole Destiny storyline is, and I gotta say, I'm absolutely hooked. And the gameplay it just reminds me of Halo and some of the other massive FPSs I played in my time. And I know Halo's kind of dated when you say it, but I mean really that was a game changer for all of us, and it's really what pulled us into the Xbox and the Microsoft gaming platform. I played a little bit of Doom 2016 on my console the other day. That was pretty cool too. I remember Doom, really waiting to get home, playing every single level. Doom 2, Castle Wolfenstein, some of the vintage, cool games that are making a comeback. I look forward to some Quake. I'm sure some of you are looking forward to some Quake. Looking forward to playing this Destiny series. I think it's really cool. Still doing some of that Titanfall 2, and I've got Overwatch. Overwatch is running on my Shadow PC right now, and we may switch over to play that because it's kind of light, and we can play, a single round or Smite if we're playing over on the Xbox. So, where do I have these things hosted? So I'm playing on Destiny. I'm gonna do on my Xbox S, which you look up the specs, but it's like a AMD 580 with 8 gig of RAM is the graphics card on it, equivalent. And it's it's running at an easy 4K. I'm playing that with my HMD most of the time and using the Windows 10 Xbox streaming app from my non-gaming PC, right? Oh no, for my gaming PC, for that piece of it. And then with Shadow, I typically have been doing it just at this point because I've only had it since I've been in recovery. So it's got a NVIDIA Quadro GPU P5000 series, which means it has 16 gig of VRAM. So I mean, God, it's a monster. And it runs on the Pascal infrastructure just like the 1080 Ti. So I know we're all looking forward to the Turing infrastructure on the 2000 series of RTX that NVIDIA has released, but I think that the Pascal infrastructure, maybe they're not quite done with it yet. I mean it's quite a robust infrastructure, and there's a lot of comparisons and talk out in the industry, and I'm sure they are very, very well aware of there was probably a tight contest to make that whole thing happen. Anyways, so one of the benefits of Quadro, not the Quadro, one of the benefits of Shadow PC is, of course, they bear all the maintenance costs. You don't have to outlay a whole bunch of money, to get started. You just pay your monthly amount, and you have always the most updated gaming machine that you can run everything in. High to ultra settings for video. I got nothing lag whatsoever. Destiny 2 looked absolutely amazing, beautiful. Even some vintage games that managed to in their time have a really high-end video capability requirement look just amazing. So anyways, just a little bit of fun here and there. I've been using it mainly for Overwatch and now for Destiny 2, which I think I'll probably play, maybe a little tiny bit concurrently, but I really want to push through this Destiny 1 series so that I can kind of feel like I'm up on that. Of course, we're a variety streamer, so we're going to be doing some Overwatch and some Smite in there. Maybe play a little bit of Titanfall, which, I've been enjoying that Titanfall 2. I haven't consequently played Titanfall 1, but that one I don't feel as compelled with Destiny that I need to take, the leap backwards. Took a little look at Battlefront 2 today. That's on the Xbox. It looks pretty nice. I haven't had a chance to really play those, even though I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Looked at The Force Awakens. Yeah, I'm serious. The Force Awakens on, the VR machine using a Vorpex and the controller, and the 3D looked absolutely amazing. I took my breath away, made me feel like a Jedi for a minute. I definitely should do some of that streaming. I'm still kind of working out in VR. Other than showing a picture of me wearing the mask, can I really give you guys the feeling of being immersed into that VR environment? I tried the Oculus Mirror, and I think Steam maybe has a tool for that. So I'll be doing some a little more experimentation as I get a little more, healthier, a little more mobile. I wanted to do some Marvel today. I didn't get to it because I was just feeling really sore. It's like when a horse kicks you in the side. You're walking with a bit of a limp, and you still feel like crap, but at least I'm up and walking. So the consolation is I'm playing this Destiny, and the storyline's amazing. I'm having a lot of fun. I think the Hunter's really going to be my class, but I made a Titan, and I'm going to make a Warlock, to kind of check it out too. So I'm at this, first boss in the junkyard, having a little trouble getting past it with my Hunter. I wonder if I'd have the same trouble with the Titan. And I don't think there's enough there may be enough multiplayer out there. I'll have to look at what Discord servers exist for Destiny. Maybe I can get some multiplayer assistance, at that point, or even some of you VR leaders there, if you own Destiny and want to just jump in and help me clear the boss, I probably wouldn't turn that down either. So my handle on Xbox is VRKnightz with a Z, just like my page. I'm easy to find. I'm kind of branded across all those. I know that it's set to VR Night. I mean, that doesn't mean that everything I do is going to be, virtual reality by the definition of placing on a headset. I mean, technically, anytime you transport yourself to somewhere else that's an alternate reality of where you are, you're in a virtual reality of us, right? So certainly when I play Destiny, I feel like I'm in that Destiny universe, and that's a virtual reality. Certainly once I turn on, stereoscopic, or if I do take the opportunity and put on the HMD and put it into this huge curved, 180-degree curve, huge screen that I'm gonna feel like I'm already in VR to some degree. It really doesn't take a lot to make yourself immersed. It turns out, you put a controller in your hand, and the touch and stuff is nice. And my son mentioned that when he was here, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. You're right, the touch is nice. But in truth, it really just takes it for it to be right there in front of you, even on a television, not even an HMD, with the ability to affect that, reality, right? That to really help you become immersed. So you add on layers like the HMD and the curve, and then all of a sudden you're super immersed. With WoW, when I kicked it off on my gaming machine and I ran through Vorpex, I literally was in VR mode, so I could look left and right and up and down, and I could move as I normally did, my momentum on the keyboard and stuff like that. But where I went was based on where I looked, and that was quite an experience, not right clicking and holding it down to look around. So I mean, I gotta say VR is something else. So even though I still, I'm always going to be a hardcore gamer, and I'll game on any surface that you give me. On a humongous cinematic screen is probably my favorite, and some of these really immersive games like Skyrim, Fallout, those are just amazing opportunities in VR. Archangel is another great one. I feel is super immersive, and Onward is great. Gun Club, I have a lot of fun with that one. I have some videos up on here, and I'll be streaming that again soon. So, all right, enough of this chit chat and talking. Let's get ourselves some walking. Yeah, I know. I'm a rhyme artist. So I'm heading back down to that junkyard real quick. I love the graphics. I'm happy with that. I mean, it looks good.
There's so little left out here, and we're lucky to even find this ship. A Guardian can't do much to protect the city without one. But it needs a warp drive if we ever hope to fight beyond Earth. And that Cosmodrome is the only place I know where we might still find one. We survived the Fallen once. We can do it again.
I agree, Ghost. Let's get it done. Alright, so we're going back to that junkyard. I think that's kind of where I left off on my last cast. So we fight through some of the normal reds, and then we find ourselves... You know, I wanted to check something. I think I can at any time swap out, if I'm not in combat, like, I could purposely swap to this one. So I could personally swap to that one. See? So we'll do that for now. I think that's going to be better for what we're trying to do here. Right? So we're going to really be careful coming in. I would like to take out as many of these things as possible, but I don't want to use my special on them. I want to use my special on him. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm really trying to, you know, limit my exposure. He was kicking my ass, man. And I might have started a little more of a fight than I wanted here. No, I'm alright. I got the corner still. They're still moving into my sides. So, I mean, I really want to save my effort this time, though. Like I said, I want to use my stuff for, you know, getting the boss versus getting my ass handed to me here. Let's pull back a little. Oh yeah. Oh, I'll think I'm hiding. That's freaking hilarious. That's an outtake right there. I'm semi decent at these. I haven't played for, you know, probably 4 years, 5 years. I don't know. We're busy having kids, and I was busy working building data centers, so I rarely had time to play anything that had a joystick. So it's kind of a thrill to be back in the saddle, especially with VR, which is kind of a realization of a long dream of mine from way back in the day. You know, so this is where I'm talking about. See, here he comes.
It's in the walls.
I want to use this now. Now he's gonna like shoot me like big time. I want to do as much damage to him as absolutely possible with this thing, but he's gonna run in on me, of course, so I better run. Let's get over here. We can take him, but well, this is a good control point, right? I wonder if he'll walk back this far. Well, that's kind of a flaw, right? Then it gives me an instant area where this is mine. And I can take my time and effort and keep my health up to run this thing. Which I'll take all the help I can, especially because at the moment, I'm doing this shit myself. I've got 2 more shots with my special. And I know that he's walking back and forth, I think. Alright, so he's shooting here. There he is. Okay, they're all counting on me being accessible now, but I'm gonna use that little bit of knowledge I have that I can dodge around this corner and heal, and I'm pretty safe. And I'm also going to count on the fact that oh, I've got 11 more shots with my sniper rifle again. Great. Ooh, yeah, you hit me. That's alright. Let's hold that. I'm going to wait for you to come back around because you're not always going to come back to that same spot. That time they came in 2. The standard kind of shocking off, and the one with more health waited. It's good. Alright, so now we want to get a shot at the big guy And he's gonna do the same thing. Remember, he's gonna go back and forth in the same technique. So we just gotta find out where he's at and not get killed by him. Okay, so this time he was waiting over here. Alright, and I want to take him. Almost got him, baby. I'll take it, you know? Wouldn't help to die right here. Come on, come around. For just the right spot. Got him, fucker. Yeah. That is what I'm talking about.
And we got a warp drive.
Yes, we did. Mission complete. Frickin' sweet. Pretty awesome. I won't complain. I gotta reset my controller. I was doing something weird there. Alright, so I got some rewards there, huh? That's cool. Completed that mission. Killed that Archon, that was amazing. I'm not ringing my own bell. I had already tried 3 times and had done less capable than that, so I'm not going to complain about it. Sorry, no face tonight. Didn't feel like, prettying myself up, I'll I'll post a picture of myself and you guys can remember how I look when I'm really looking good there. Just kidding. Just didn't really feel like setting up the camera. Sometimes I think that happens to the best of us. Typically, though, I do have the camera running. So, anyway, so glad to see that you guys are actually hearing me. All right. So let's go ahead and set our destination. Go back and turn in our quest. So we need to go to the tower. And we'll go there now. And then we'll also do our upgrade. I just love the graphics. They're awesome. They're great. I don't know. I'll admit it. I'm completely enamored with the game. I feel like a little fanboy, Or maybe I'm just giddy because of the pain medicine and my wife letting me game, right? Anyways, let's see. Let's go run and tell him we got our warp drive. Should we jump on the table? Bam.
It's not the getting in, it's the getting out.
Alright, let's see.
The war will never end, Guardian.
Alright, you only just begun your guardian career and you've already you've slain an Archon? That's right, bitch. Impressive. Let's see if you can maintain your tenacity and send you back into action. Fallen forces are strengthening their position at the Jovian and terrestrial complexes in the Cosmodrome. Scout the areas and report back to me.
Never doubted you.
Alright, cool. So don't I have ones that turn into him though?
Fall and we'll be behind you.
I thought I had to like, I don't know, turn in my warp drive.
Hey, back from the wild?
Yeah, I guess you have nothing for me though, huh? I see how you are. What did I do for you now, kind of person? Oh, the hunter armor stuff is pretty good, right? I guess we could get some stuff. I wonder where we sell stuff. I'll kind of figure that out.
Something.
What can you do for me? You can help me with whatever you think is important.
Stay safe, okay?
Alright, so... Okay. So she's got like a flashing thing going on. Does she, or is it up here? It's up here.
Help me, Guardian.
I've talked to her about 1 billion times. Well, I mean, I'll go talk to her again, but... Right now, nah. Oh, here's the bounty tracker. He must have something.
Yes, Guardian?
Complete a bounty given out at the tower. Bounty tracking. Alright, sure. Alright, so we'll take an available bounty.
Checking. Acknowledged.
Alright, sounds good.
Thank you.
We could do that one. That sounds like a good multiplayer thing. I wonder what the multiplayer population now at Destiny 2 is.
Gonna get someone killed.
I don't know. There's always someone wanting to play back through and get, you know, the whole thing of it all. I'm sure I can sell a gun to this guy.
You've come to the right place.
Can I sell shit, or do I just, It says left trigger, show damage types. Alright, dismiss, open character. I wonder if I open character here, if I can like sell shit. Return to vendor. Alright, see? I can dismantle that. Alright, and then I got this Duke Cannon. So obviously we're not going to need this one anymore. This one we're going to equip. And yeah, I mean, do we need two? I don't know which one's better for us, right? I don't know, we might keep them both for now just to see what we got. What's this? Oh, look at that, we got a new special. That's pretty cool. Alright, so now our attack's gone up. We have that rifle if we need it. I think that was a good move on my part to go get the rifle. Oh, what's this? Alright, we'll take the cloak. Take the pants. Yeah. We're gonna get the whole hunter get up? What's the deal for us? What's the helmet gonna be? No. We'll go ahead and stick with that one. We'll do that in a second. So we've got an upgrade to do here. So we're going to do that upgrade now. Throw a knife from a distance. Alright, I'll take it. Huh, really cool. I like the whole gunslinger idea, you know. I don't know, for some reason it's super appealing that it's a robot. Let me go back down through these just one more time. This one was 19, this one's 23, okay. This was 23, this one's 20. So I mean, we're coming up in the world. We got some better armor, we got some better weapons. We got the same old ghost, but we like him. Alright, so let's get rid of the crap we don't need. I'm gonna keep that because it's funny, but and we wouldn't need this, and I assume dismantling is what you do here. And then it turns it into that money. I don't know. Really don't want to hold on to anything, of course, and I'm broke. So if I need anything, I want to be able to buy it. Let's say I got like 83. Alright, well that makes sense.
Until next time.
Oh, actually, don't mind walking around with that. How much was that again? Oh, I'm a little short
Keep
on the
that thing
clever.
oiled, Guardian.
Alright, so we're differently equipped.
Heat shields on the fritz.
Huh, do you see the pinstripe? Freaking hilarious. Alright, anyways. So we got our warp drive set, right? I mean, did we go to everyone we're supposed to? Let's see. Set quests and bounties in the quest screen to track their progress.
Package for Banshee. Oh dear. Tick, tick, tick.
Huh. Alright, so then I guess that would be here. That's inventory. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to figure this out. Quest, here we go. Complete a bounty, slay enemies. Okay, so I guess just getting my my warp drive just, you know, was what I needed to do, which I guess makes sense, and we're good to go now. Oh yeah, and I don't even need to go there and go back to the horde.
Child's play.
Love that look right there. The Traveler, huh? The Traveler. It seems mystical even. Alright, let's go to orbit. Alright, I'm gonna do an intermission, so I'll be right back.
When we were much more powerful. But that was long ago. Until it wakes and finds its voice, I am the one who speaks for the Traveler.
Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Destiny Basics video, your guide to getting started in the Destiny universe. So far in this series, I've gone over the 3 classes in Destiny and how their respective subclasses will alter the way you play, and I've also explained how leveling works in Destiny, the difference between light and XP, and how to get to the max level as quickly as possible. So, by now, if you're new to the world of Destiny and are following along with this series, you should be well on your way to max level. So, with that being said, today's video is going to talk about stats and vendors. While you'll spend most of your time in Destiny out in the open world, shooting evil aliens, collecting awesome loot, and just in general defending the galaxy, you'll also spend a fair amount of time in the tower. Consider this as your home from home. As you will have already experienced having started the game, the tower is home to a variety of NPCs, or vendors, a lot of whom will be important to you as your Guardian climbs those all-important levels. Some vendors you'll visit more than others, but regardless, I'm going to start off this video by giving you a rundown of who they all are, where you'll find them, and why they matter, or don't in some cases. And then, I'm going to put my number hat on and talk about armor and weapon stats. So, first up, if you're setting foot in the tower for the very first time, right in front of you as you spawn is this red and black robot. Believe it or not, most people walk straight past him and don't even realise his purpose. But if you take the time to interact with him, you'll see he provides a rather handy tower map. This is going to help me show you where everybody is. So first up, as soon as you walk up the stairs, to the left is Tess Everest, Special Orders. You won't interact with her much in your Destiny adventures, in fact you'll basically never talk to her, but in the event you have some special DLC items like this red ghost shell or the EV30 tumbler, then you can pick them up from her at any time on any of your characters. Then, moving around the corner, you have Kadi 5530, the Postmaster. This is one NPC you'll be visiting all the time. Anytime you receive items in the post, you can come and claim them here. For example, if you rank up your Vanguard rank, your reward package is here. Or if you're out on a mission, you receive items as rewards but your inventory is full, they'll come here. And similarly, if you're out and about and you miss or forget to pick up an engram, it'll also come here. And more importantly, if you're in orbit, then this icon here will tell you have mail, so you know instantly if it's worth flying down to check in. Then up the stairs from there we have Xander 9940, the bounty tracker. I spoke about him in quite a bit of detail in my last video, but again, this is an NPC you'll be spending a lot of time with. He issues you bounties and you return to him to hand them in. Seeing as bounties are a fundamental part of leveling and ranking up in Destiny, he's right up there as one of the most visited inhabitants of the tower. Then if you turn right from Xander and go straight ahead, you have the gunsmith, Banshee 44. Now in all honesty, once you pass your initial few levels, you'll basically only ever have one reason to return to this guy: to buy ammo synthesis, primarily heavy ammo synthesis. If you've never used one before, these are used to replenish your ammo supply when you're out and about. You'll never need the basic ammo synthesis, seeing as your primary refills itself if it runs out, and more often than not, special ammo drops quite frequently. But heavy ammo synthesis is a must, especially when you start raiding. Having rockets for that launcher or bullets for that machine gun can be a game changer. However, as you'll find out shortly when I talk about the other vendors, there are alternate means to acquire heavy ammo synthesis, which almost make poor Banshee here redundant. Then, turning right again, going down the stairs, you have Master Rahul, the Cryptarch. He is used to decode engrams, those coloured green, blue and maybe even purple containers you see rolling around the world when you kill your enemies. Bring them to him and he'll turn them into items. Word of warning, Destiny players will tell you he's cruel and more often than not the item you get back isn't what you wanted. But unfortunately you have no control over that. He deals in random numbers, and while he does have a reputation system on the side, it does very little to improve your odds. That being said, if you max out or rank up one of his reputation levels, you'll get a reward package at the Postmaster, usually containing a few more engrams, so it's not all doom and gloom. Now, moving on from there, that's everyone in the main area except Eris, but we'll talk about her later on. For now, let's go downstairs. First up, to your right, you have Lord Shax, the Crucible Handler. He is your vendor for Crucible gear, and you can buy armor pieces in exchange for Crucible marks and commendations. These form part of your strategy to level up quickly, so between him and your Vanguard Handler, they will prove pretty handy on your journey to the top. You'll notice all the stats on the armor pieces, we'll talk about them in a bit. Then to the left you have Archite 9940, the Crucible Quartermaster. You can see him as the weapons version of Lord Shax. He sells you Crucible weapons, again in exchange for marks and commendations, and also raw materials if you need them. Both of these NPCs have a reputation system and require certain ranks before you can buy gear and weapons. Rank 2 for armor, rank 3 for weapons. Then continuing into the main room, you have your respective class vendors. Ikora Ray for Warlocks, Cade 6 for Hunters, and Commander Zavala for Titans. These guys will sell you gear throughout the game for your respective classes. Early on, you'll get low rank gear to help you on your way, and endgame, you can buy legendary armor from them. And again, if you remember my last basics video, then you'll know these guys will be the ones you will aim to buy gear from at first in order to level up high enough so that you can begin raiding. Reputation you earn doing patrol missions, bounties and vanguard strikes will go towards ranking up your reputation for these guys, unless you're working towards a faction, which I'll explain shortly. Then moving to the east side of the tower, you now have Ronnie 5530, the Vanguard Quartermaster. Just like with Crucible, he's the Vanguard weapons guy, once again requiring a minimum rank of 3 to purchase weapons in exchange for marks and commendations. And he too sells raw materials should you need them. Then moving up the stairs from him, you have Amanda Holiday, the shipwright. She sells ships and sparrows, but to be honest, you'll basically never visit her. You'll find much better, cooler looking ships by doing Vanguard rock strikes, and if you begin raiding, similarly you'll obtain a better sparrow. But either way, if you want something that looks a little bit different, then she's the one to go to. Now, there are 2 more vendors on this side, but they are faction related, so I'll return to them soon. Lastly, on the opposite side of the tower, on the west, you have Eva Levanti, the Guardian Outfitter. She sells you emblems for your player card and shaders, so that once you hit level 20, you can change the colour of your Guardian. Her stock does refresh daily, but you'll usually see the same things bar the occasional rotation, so with that being said, she is rarely visiting. And lastly, you have the speaker, the voice of the traveller. He deals in motes of light, and in exchange for enough of them, you can snag some pretty sweet looking class items, cloaks for hunters, marks for titans, and bonds for warlocks. Now, before I talk stats, the last vendors I want to mention are Eris, Zur, and the event specific ones. Eris you'll find back here in the main area. She's only relevant if you have the Dark Below expansion, and it may well be in the future that additional vendors are added for future DLCs. She will issue you with quests relating to the Dark Below, and she too has her own reputation system, rank her up, and you can purchase what she has for sale. Then you have Zur. Now Zur, as mentioned in the last video, is an exotic merchant. He is only in the tower from Friday to Sunday morning, that's in GMT, and when he arrives, he is always located in one of 6 possible locations. You can see them marked on the map now. From left to right, you have in the west by the balcony, or by the big door. In the main area, you have down the stairs, or up on the walkway by the vanguard handlers. Then in the east, on the right as you go down the stairs, or right at the bottom in the basement. When he arrives, if you have enough strange coins, you can purchase exotic weapons and armour from him, upgrade any old exotics you have, and if you're lucky, purchase heavy ammo synthesis from him in exchange for strange coins, as opposed to glimmer. His stock changes every week when he returns, so if he doesn't have something you want, then you have to wait another week. And lastly, you have this area here, which is currently closed off. This area only opens up when there are special events going on, like Iron Banner. These events have their own respective vendors who you'll deal with throughout the course of the event. You can buy gear from them, and if it's relevant, get bounties from them. So, those are all the main vendors you'll find around the tower. However, just before I talk about faction vendors, I now need to explain stats, armour and weapon stats. I'm going to begin with armour stats, as these will inform not only what you look for in endgame armour, but also the faction you align yourself with, should you choose to. Not including light, armour pieces have 3 potential stats they can carry: Intellect, Discipline, and Strength. Intellect is used to decrease the cooldown on your super, allowing you to use it more often. The more intellect you have stacked up, the more effective it becomes. Discipline decreases the cooldown on your grenades, similarly allowing you to use them more often. So again, stack this one up and it becomes more effective. And lastly, Strength reduces the cooldown on your special melee skill. For example, as a Blade Dancer, that's Blink Strike for me. More of this stacked up means you can use it more often. When you have all your armour equipped, on your character screen you'll see your totals and your total effectiveness down on the right hand side. Right now, what I'm wearing isn't actually optimised for my build. See, as a Blade Dancer, I specialise in using my super and melee abilities to go invisible as much as possible, especially when raiding. So ideally, I'd want Intellect and Strength, but as you can see, this gear has a ridiculous amount of Discipline, which means my grenades cool down extremely quickly, but that doesn't really benefit me. The main problem is, when buying legendary gear, you can pick and choose the stats you want from the vendors that sell the specific pieces, but when raiding, the gear you get has random stats, so you have much less control. Either way, when buying gear, work out what's most important to you and your build, and buy armour based on that. And just quickly, while we're on the topic of stats, let's take a quick look at weapons. Weapons carry 7 stats, most of which are self-explanatory, but there is one particular stat that isn't what it seems. Let's take my hand cannon, Word of Crota, as an example. From top to bottom, you have rate of fire, this is the number of shots per minute this weapon can fire. Then you have impact, which increases the damage inflicted by each round, higher impact, higher damage. The range stat increases the effective range of the weapon, anything beyond this distance results in fall off, which means your shots do less damage beyond that point. Stability is used to decrease the recoil on the weapon when fired repeatedly. Reload speed refers to how quickly the weapon can be reloaded, and magazine is quite obviously how many shots you have in the magazine. The attack stat, however, the big number on the side here, is quite possibly the most confusing and misunderstood stat in the game. This number means 2 things. Firstly, if it's coloured in, it means it carries an element. Purple is void, orange is solar, and blue is arc, and then white is regular kinetic damage. Different elements are used for dealing damage to different colour shielded enemies. I'll go over that in another video, but for now just recognise that colours refer to elemental damage. So this hand cannon is void. However, the big number here, attack. If you've played MMOs in the past, you'd instantly think this refers to the damage the weapon does, but it doesn't. Attack is instead a modifier for your impact. The attack stat provides a rating which determines how much of the potential damage from the impact rating of the weapon you can do as a percentage when compared to your enemy's defense values. In other words, enemies with higher defense values require higher attack stats. If your enemy's defense value is higher than your attack stat on your weapon, you won't be doing maximum impact on your weapon. Generally speaking, when using endgame weapons, maxing them out is the easiest way to ensure you're doing maximum damage. So, now you know what the stats mean. With all that in mind, let's take a look at the last 3 vendors. Faction vendors. Just like the other Vanguard and Crucible vendors, will sell you legendary gear. These have the same light values as Vanguard gear, which means you can attain the same level through whichever gear you choose. However, factions are useful because, unlike Vanguard gear, which is a mix of stats, factions focus on particular sets. The New Monarchy, located in the east of the tower, focus on intellect and strength. All their gear carry these stats, so if you want those stats, these are the guys to talk to. Then you have Dead Orbit, located in the west of the tower. This faction focuses on discipline and strength, so more grenades and more melee attacks. And then lastly, up the stairs from Dead Orbit, you have FWC, or Future War Cult, and this faction focuses on intellect and discipline. So as you can see, if you want to focus on a particular stat, then factions are the way to go. If you want to buy their items, each faction has a class item which, when worn, will convert all Vanguard reputation you earn into reputation for that particular faction. You then rank them up, and just like the others, hit rank 2 and you can buy armor, rank 3 and you can buy weapons. Do note, however, that while wearing this item, all of your Vanguard reputation is converted, so that means your Vanguard rank will not go up, only your faction rank. And with that, I reached the end of this video. Hopefully you found it helpful, and hopefully you learned something new. If you did, then be sure to hit that thumbs up button and leave a like. And also hit that subscribe button to become part of the VRKnightz Gaming Nation, and so you don't miss a single video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in next Monday for the next episode in my Destiny Basics series. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.
For centuries we feared the forces of darkness massing against us. We sought to hide and cower beneath a broken god. No more.
Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Destiny Basics video. If you've been following this series, then you'll know that so far we've been over the 3 classes in Destiny and how their respective subclasses change the way you play. Then we discussed the different types of leveling, XP and light, and how you can get to the highest level as quickly as possible. And then last week I ran you through all the vendors in the tower and discussed armor and weapon stats, so by now you should already have a pretty good grounding. But in today's video, I want to talk about Destiny's various currencies, and believe me, there are quite a few of them, and the best ways for you to farm them should you need them. So, let's begin. First up, if you've ever played other MMOs, you'll probably be familiar with the concept of multiple currencies. However, it's usually some sort of money, be that gold, gems, coins, you name it, and then some sort of endgame coin or medal or medallion that is exchanged for endgame items. Obviously, different games handle this differently, but the point is, the concept of multiple currencies isn't new. That being said, Destiny takes that to the extreme. At present, there are 8 different currencies that you need to know about. All of these are used in some way, shape or form to obtain items and gear throughout your journey, and it's time you know what they're all for. So first up, your 8 currencies are as follows: Glimmer, Vanguard Marks, Vanguard Commendations, Crucible Marks, Crucible Commendations, Strange Coins, Motes of Light, and Black Wax Items. Technically you could say 9 if you counted exotic shards, but for the time being, I'm not going to include that. So, now you know what they are, what are they used for? First up, Glimmer. This is, first and foremost, Destiny's base currency. It's the equivalent to gold or coins or rupees, and you use it to buy various things. It caps out at 25,000 Glimmer, and is actually shared across all characters on your account. You can use it to buy weapons from the Gunsmith, engrams from the Cryptarch, ships and sparrows from the Shipwright, low-level armor from the Vanguard vendor, or even custom emblems and shaders from Eva Levanti. And while Glimmer may not be used to purchase the all-important legendary gear, it is, however, used to fund your weapon and armor upgrades, so it's worth ensuring you always have Glimmer. After all, nobody wants to be broke, right? Next, you have marks and commendations. I'm going to group these up as they go hand in hand. If you saw my last video, you'll already know what these are for, but Vanguard and Crucible marks are used to purchase legendary armor and weapons from the respective vendors. You require certain reputation levels in order to actually be able to make the purchase, but once you are the right level, these items will cost marks. Commendations go alongside this, as these are used in conjunction with marks to purchase certain items. With armor, helmets and chests are purchased with a combination of marks and a single commendation, whereas arms and legs will set you back marks alone. Weapons, on the other hand, will cost you both marks and commendations, so you're going to need them if you plan on building your arsenal. Then you have strange coins. Again, this was covered in last week's video, but these are used to purchase exotic items from Zur, the exotic vendor who comes to the tower every Friday and stays till Sunday morning, GMT. Exotic gear will set you back 13 strange coins, and weapons range from 17 to 23 strange coins depending on whether they are primary, secondary or heavy. Then you have motes of light. These can also be used at Zur to purchase exotic engrams if you want to try your luck. That'll set you back 23 motes of light, or you can go over to the speaker in the west of the tower and purchase some of his fancy looking class items and emblems. And lastly, you have black wax idols. These have always been in the game, but before the Dark Below, these were used purely to multiply your glimmer income, which I'll cover shortly. But when the Dark Below came out, these became a currency. You can go to Eris, the new vendor for the Dark Below, and exchange them for some of her items. So, now you know what all of these currencies are used for, the next question is, how do you acquire them? And if necessary, farm them. Let's start with Glimmer. You get Glimmer from killing Mages and Ultras. These are the guys with the yellow health bars and usually some sort of fancy name. You also get Glimmer from dismantling weapons and armor, completing missions and exchanging a few quest-based items. But if you're in need of some serious cash, allow me to show you by far the best way to farm Glimmer. Using this method, you'll hit the max in just over an hour. However, just before I begin that, I need to show you these: Ether Seeds, Black Wax Idols, Blue Polyphage, and Resupply Codes. These are consumable items that, when used, cause enemies to drop more Glimmer when you kill them, and these last for 10 minutes at a time. Ether Seeds are for Fallen, Black Wax Idols for Hive, Blue Polyphage for Vex, and Resupply Codes for Cabal. And it's the Resupply Codes we're going to need for this. If you have access to Mars, then you'll have access to the first mission, the Exclusion Zone. Select this mission and change the difficulty to level 18. Begin the mission, work your way to the beginning sequence where you open the doors, and it's this short 2-minute segment that is where you're going to farm Glimmer. See, at this point, after the first wave of enemies, a dropship will deploy another wave of Cabal. This time though, they have yellow health bars, and they are the ones that drop the Glimmer. Use a resupply code and kill all but one enemy from the second wave. I usually leave the shield guys alive as they are the easiest ones to not kill. The reason you leave one alive is because you want to avoid checkpointing. Once you've killed all but one, you want to die, so either have the Cabal kill you, or shoot yourself with a rocket. At this point you then respawn, and you can complete this section again. You then repeat the cycle until your 10 minutes is up on the resupply code, and you can then use another one. Do this for about an hour, and you'll have around 20,000 Glimmer, so if you need money, this is where you need to go. Then moving on, let's talk marks, Vanguard and Crucible marks. You can obtain Vanguard marks starting at level 18 by completing public events, strikes in the strike playlist, or daily heroic missions. And then you can obtain Crucible marks by participating in Crucible matches. A win will reward you with 3, and a loss will reward you with 2. For both Vanguard and Crucible marks, you can only earn 100 of each per week. Then commendations are earned when you level up the respective factions starting at level 3. You receive a package each time you rank up Vanguard or Crucible factions, and on opening the package you receive the respective commendation. Then, moving on to strange coins. These are earned reliably through the weekly heroic strikes. Complete it on level 24 and you'll get 3 coins, level 28 and you'll get 6, level 30 and you'll get 9. These do not stack, so 9 is the most you can get per week from these on a single character, but you can complete these strikes on multiple characters. Alternatively, if you're lucky, you'll get these when you decode engram at the crypto, but that is random. And then motes of light. These are quite possibly the longest or hardest things to come by, simply because they just take a little while to get. Once you hit level 20, while your physical XP base level won't exceed, you do still earn XP. Once you earn about 40,000 XP, you'll be awarded a single mote of light, and this happens each time you gain more XP. If you hover over your base level, it'll show your progress to your next mote. As I said, this does take a while, so on top of this, you can also randomly obtain these from decoding engrams like you can with strange coins. And then lastly, Black Wax Idols. And to be honest, this also applies to any of the currency multipliers I listed before. Idols, seeds, codes, and polyphages. These just come from killing the respective enemy types. Mages often drop these, so for Black Battle idols, killing knights or major acolytes is often a way to farm them, and similarly for all the others. During the Mars Glimmer farm I showed you, the enemies will often drop resupply codes for you, so this allows you to continue the cycle. And that, my friends, is it for this video. Hopefully by now you're a little clearer on all of Destiny's currency items, and should you need to obtain any of them, you now know how to do so. If you did find this video helpful, be sure to leave a like and hit that thumbs up button down below, and make sure you join the RX Gaming Nation by hitting that subscribe button. Check back next Monday for another Destiny Basics episode, and check back daily for more gaming videos. Thanks again for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out. Yo, what's going on guys, RX here and welcome to Monster Hunter. I appreciate that a large portion of you on this channel and watching this video already know exactly what this game is. However, with Monster Hunter World set to welcome tons of new hunters into the fray, I want to take the time to answer the question, what is Monster Hunter?
Alright, hey all, I'm back. Had to have that, midnight snack. Was feeling awful hungry. Not quite midnight, but we had tacos. You always gotta get in there early for those good, leftovers on that one. So, we had just completed killing our Archon and getting our Warp Core and getting some new, missions. So let's see what we got. We got Earth. We can't do this one, the Rise of Iron. Oh yeah, because we're not like ready for that, right? So I think we're heading back over here again. So it's out here. Okay, so I have the Legendary Edition coming Tuesday, yeah. So I decided to play Destiny 1 on my Xbox One S, and then I'm gonna play Destiny 2 on my computer. So really kind of an economics thing. I only have so much space on my any of my computers, it seems, and two, the new one's gonna have the best graphics, so really kind of show off my shadow box when I play on that one. And 3 because, well, I don't know, for 20 bucks I was able to get the CD with all the DLCs and all that, so I guess it really did come down to economics. Anyways, so I guess our next trip has got to be down here, right? I mean, where else could we be going? I don't know. Let's go back and move. So here's our quest. Okay, complete a bounty given out from Xander at the tower, and it's incomplete. Patrols, lay of land, kill any enemies, survey location. Okay, so like, this is something we should probably go do. Path of the Gunslinger. We'll get there. The story of the fallen in the city, their battle for the future of Earth. Alright, and then legend and tale of the hunter on a path out of the darkness. Okay, well, that all seems good. Let's go do something then. So I assume we just go here and we go to Earth. Because at the moment I don't have any other details. Alright, so here we go. And hunt for parts to restore your ship's ability for interplanetary travel. Well, goddamn, didn't we already do that? I don't want to do it again. Investigate reports of a hidden power trapped in the Cosmodrome array stations. Fire team 1 to 3 players, cooperative. Alright, well, let's launch. Let's go see what it is at least, right? Like I said, I get the full set on Tuesday, so I don't know if I have to restart at that point on Destiny 1 or if it carries over.
The Cosmodrome are keeping a pretty tight guard on the old Skywatch. Could be one of their leaders, or it could be something valuable. The speaker's asking Guardians to look into it.
Here we go, let's jump down there and get our job done, right?
Okay, the Skywatch is just on the other side of the steps. And it's surrounded by Fallen. Well,
Of course
I'm ready
it
if you
is.
are.
I seem to be. Alright, here we go. I'm determined to get better with this frickin' handgun. I love the idea of the Old West type of fire shooter. Back when I played some Overwatch here in a minute. You know, I think that's the guy we'll also use. Because the reticule's very much the same. Whoa, come here. Come here, I still, This is getting ridiculous. Are we gonna really be playing around and around here? Alright. So I guess I could have enacted my special, which would have made me like a fire gun for a minute. I'm still not completely savvy on all of those things, but I will be. Plan on watching Primer again in a minute, but not a minute, but you know what I mean. Just kind of like, get my bearings. The game is so deep that's like, you know, if you don't pay attention to all the details, you find yourself lost really quickly. I don't know what's compelling me to go down here. Always seems like trouble when you have to go in the dark and have a flashlight, right? Whoa, come back. Alright, well I collected something, that's worthwhile, right? Who knows what else is going to be down here? Maybe this actually will lead us under the base and then back up again. That's what I'm kind of thinking. I mean, shit, I don't know what it's going to hold for us. Could just be a waste of our time. Looks like that's what it was, no? What do we got here? Our light's not good for the fallen. Map of the Cosmodrome. State-of-the-art computers. Hey, there's a couple flat screens there. Look at that. I love that there's a whole devastation that goes with this. So kind of a post-apocalyptic, you know, genres have always appealed to me. The Shadowrun games, that kind of stuff. Really would like to do a cool Shadowrun. Haven't done that in a while. Used to do it on pen and paper. I played the video games years ago. I wouldn't mind seeing a really cool, you know, new Shadowrun that'll come out. Knew it, fuck. Alright, there's a drone somewhere around here. It just fucking came and shot the shit out of me. God damn. Should like start looking for where the reticule is on this. Reticule. It's a reticule. I'm pretty good with the blade though. I seem to always get in there with the blade and get them. Alright. Seems like we made some progress in. Is there like a big map here? See that it has the arrow, so that must be where our objective lies. Push into the old array domes and find what fallen are protecting. Okay. Well, I'm not exactly certain which direction that means I have to go. But I assume that box kind of is giving me the all clear. Imagine doing this truly in VR. Picking up your gun, you know, Arizona sunshine, but with a Destiny timeline type of thing, be able to actually go through these areas. I mean, they're going to be able to do that real soon. They'll just add the hook in. I mean, all these games are built that way. I was talking to a dev and he's like, look, there's not that much difference between designing a game, you know, for VR than there is for designing a game for current, you know, technologies and these first-person shooters and stuff. The environment's already there. I mean, the 360 is already rendered all around you already. And so, you know, just change the mechanism to which the character holds the gun, and obviously loading and you know, things like that, but movement is still, you know, the same. You know, you're just replacing head look with let's see if we get attached to that. Oh, that's Titanfall. And zipline down the power lines. Well, I'm not really seeing anybody out there. Let's see if we can get a better look. I mean, where are we supposed to go in? And that's like the next, you know, big thing. Where, oh where has our little friends gone? Where, oh where do they be? Yeah, every time you find a vantage point, you never have anybody to shoot. It's like inevitable. Sorry guys, I'm gonna take a second just see if I can scan the horizon and see any, you know, opportunities to take them out ahead of time before we get to them, before we have to deal with them. committed to learning this whole, you know, rolling with the pistol. Though I do like that I can, you know, at any time just go, nah, I'm ready to use my gun now, thanks. Yeah, supercharged. What's up, bitch? It's alright. I mean, whatever weapons do the job, right? I mean, the pistol's kind of cool close in. I think I'll do a little more target practice with that, and I'll do that through Overwatch and using the gunslinger.
You know, this place must have been amazing before the collapse. Thousands of humans boarding the colony ships, off to build cities beyond.
I agree with you, Ghost. That's exactly what I feel. I feel this place must have been amazing. Curious what the secrets it still holds. You know? At this very moment, I'm curious of where the hell the, where are all the fallen? I wonder if that's gonna be a down and an in. Let's jump down. No, no entry there. Alright. And now I jump right into a perfect ambush space. Stay out here on the roads is never a good idea either. I'm kind of an open target before I get a chance to find them. I'd like to get to another high vantage point and go like scan around. The sniper in me. You know, I'll have to look. I love that some of these new games, like that Population 1 Battlefield is coming out. It sounds like it's gonna have mountain climbing. You know, catches into it. So, you know, you run up a mountain and you look for the holds and you climb in. You know, climb up, not in.
The building with the radar? That's the Skywatch.
Up the hill. Right, so there's gotta be our enemies somewhere in there too, right? I mean, that's just gotta be where they're at. Still, strangely not there. Still just kind of us. Strolling around, maybe there's no fallen. Right, are we gonna get lucky? I don't believe we're gonna get lucky. I don't know, it called the music. Something tells me I'm coming up on a firefight real soon. But where is it? That's the question, right? Where is it? I don't know, we gotta get into the building. It might just be a boring run. Oh, wait a second. See, didn't I tell you? I told you they were there. So let's go for the biggest target first. Right? Let's wait for him to come back. Let's have some patience. A few drugs with them. You know what? I think I could better my position on them. Oh, look at that. There's a few more. Oh, and there's a level 7 or 8. Run. What the shittle? Alright, we can play one with the natives. So. I remember, they've been playing with us too. So don't think they're not following me. I'm not going to be so naive as to think that I'm really going to catch the backside here. I know, that was a yellow reaver, so there's something there, right? And I see another guy in that area, so maybe we'll have some help. Oh, fuck it, we know they're there. Let's just go in, we know they're there. Love the graphics on this game. I've said that about a billion times. Even on the console, I'm plenty happy with the graphics. Okay, I'm not gonna plan on falling into that water, but I know that Reaver's around here. I realize all of us are on different missions. Maybe he came through and he cleared that guy out already. I don't know. Alright, let's move on. Too much time wasting. I don't know what drew me back there. You know, I just had to go back to take a look, but let's move up to the Warsat. I mean, they're there, and I know they're there, and we'll come back. I don't know, Ghost said it's somewhere at the back. They'll still be there when we get there. So, I want to get up here and battle the Forsaken that I've got to battle. I don't want to run dead into him either. So I'm starting to feel like we're coming up into oh, there's a cave. Wonder where that goes. Wonder if it goes up and in. What's that? Wow. He totally freaking devastated me. That was pretty cool. Just gonna die just like that. Alrighty then. Well, I guess you had the upper hand and I just didn't know it, sir. See, it's kind of hard knowing what areas you're supposed to be venturing at what level for, right? There's a level 27 guy out there. Maybe I'll have to get on a Discord server for this since, oh my god, I'm just like walking into it. Maybe I'll have to get on a Discord server. Look for some people who are on VR Elite to play together. Come on, I know you want to come back out. Damn you. Got me, and... Kill that captain that time, son of a bitch. I knew there was someone sitting him on little excursions out there to check and see if he could get me. Alright, that's cool. At least now we know what we're dealing with. Alright, see, well, I don't know, we're gonna stick with the pistol. Every part of me wants to be like, well, let's pull out the assault rifle.
We're in.
You know what?
This was one of Skywatch's old array stations. A link to the lunar colonies.
Alright. So here we go. Let's work around the room or from corner to corner. Just, you know, good sensible
Dead
shit
end.
to do.
Fallen sealed this gate. I can get it open. Fallen really didn't want anybody getting in or out.
Yeah, they sure didn't.
What is this?
Good
Lots
question.
of motion ahead. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Alright, so look at all that black like energy coming up there. I'm gonna walk past that and it's gonna fucking zap into something. How many fallen am I about to like mass into? Look at all these black energy spots. Alright, that doesn't sound good. So we got the music going. Stay down and crouch, keep ourselves a small target. Work corner to corner.
The hive.
That was some sick shit. Did you see how those mages jump in there? That was a knife fight, bitch. That was some sick shit. Alright. Where are we going? Yeah, I set the mature audience filter today. I just kind of had a feeling that was where we're going with this. I can't watch my language when I'm playing these kind of games. It's like too much for me, I guess.
There's a wizard here. You have to kill it.
Yeah, there's a wizard here. Do you think that I didn't notice that? It's kind of funny. I was just thinking there's a wizard here. I better kill him, or I'm gonna die. Alright, looky that. Definitely did do that. 28 kills though. Precision kills. Alright, I'm gonna take a 2-seconder. I know the kind of shit we're dealing with here. The music's going. You know how it is. We all know how it is. Alright, I'm gonna throw you guys into a YouTube for a few minutes and I'll be right back. I don't know, maybe I ought to zap up to the... Then I'll come back to it. Alright, take a quick little break there. That was some intense fighting. Though I know I'm not done with that, so now I have to go through that whole instance again. So, alright, let me put you guys on the next good stuff here. So Monster Hunter's another one of those games that I've had for a while and haven't really played it yet. So, but I figured, you know, what the heck, we can kind of take a look at this together while I make something to drink and enjoy that. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think I need to change it over from. Oh, I have to go to intermission so you guys can see it. There we go.
Let's begin at the very top. As the name suggests, Monster Hunter is a game where you hunt monsters. Monsters come in all
got that? Monster Hunter is a game where you hunt monsters.
To say a raptor, larger monsters that can range from fire-breathing wyverns that fly from the sky, scaly-looking creatures that stalk you through the trees, aggressive bipedal brutes that'll have you diving for cover, and even some frankly bizarre-looking monsters that, well, you really need to see to believe. And just when you think you've got a good grasp for the types of threats that await you, you'll then encounter something like this. A monster so huge you can't even begin to fathom how you're supposed to take it down. But you will, in time. In short, there are lots of monsters to hunt, and plenty of variety to keep things fresh and fun and keep you coming back for more. But the question that follows is why? Why do we hunt? I mean, hunting monsters is cool and all, sort of like fighting bosses in something like Dark Souls, but there has to be a reason, right? Well, of course. See, the other core component of Monster Hunter, the other key pillar, so to speak, is loot. More specifically, badass armor and weapons. See, every monster you fight has its own set of armor and selection of weapons, so one of the best, most exciting things about finally taking down a new monster you've never seen before is that moment where you return to town, speak to the smithy, and discover what that armor set looks like or how badass those weapons are. Of course, you won't be able to make the gear and weapons right away. I mean, this is a loot-based game after all, a game where you hunt monsters to farm parts. If you're lucky, after your first hunt, you might be able to make one piece of gear, but this is where the replayability comes in. You hunt that monster, decide that the armor set is so incredibly cool that nothing else matters until you have the complete set, so you go back out and you hunt it again, and again, and again, until you have all the parts you need to craft and wear your shiny new armor set or wield your fancy new weapon. Pretty cool, right? But then, with your new armor and weapons, you head out and fight yet more monsters, only to return and find yet more gear that you want to craft, and so the cycle goes on. We hunt, we carve, we craft, and we hunt again. Monster Hunter is a game that offers hundreds of different armor and weapon combinations, so whether you're a collector looking to get it all, or just someone looking to play more casually and pick and choose the items you want, there will always be something for you to chase, something for you to earn, and that sense of satisfaction when you finally achieve that goal. However, that's just the A to B, hunting to crafting. But what about the actual gameplay, the stuff that takes place in the middle, the actions that ultimately allow you to hunt the monsters and get that sweet gear? Well, to begin with, it's worth noting that monsters in-game don't have health bars. They're not like your typical bosses from other games where you gradually whittle them down whilst monitoring their overall health. In Monster Hunter, you have to observe your target. When monsters become weaker, they slow down, begin to drool, and eventually start limping. These are your signs that it's near defeat. All the UI you see on screen, that pertains to your hunter. Health, stamina, weapon sharpness, etc. And speaking of weapons, there are 14 different weapon types for you to choose from. Sword and shield, dual blades, longsword, greatsword, hammer, hunting horn, lance, gun lance, switch axe, charge blade, insect glaive, bow, light bowgun, and heavy bowgun. And for each monster you hunt, there are typically variations of most, if not all, of these weapons. So within your favourite weapon type, there will be tons of options for you to choose from, tons of weapons to craft. And what's more, you're not bound by your weapon choice. See, Monster Hunter isn't a class-based game. When you create your character, and yes, there is character creation by the way, you won't select your class or your weapon only to find yourself bound by that choice for all eternity. On the contrary, you begin the game, grab the weapon that interests you the most, and if later on you realise you made the wrong choice, or maybe you feel like a change of pace, then you simply equip something else and carry on hunting. Weapons are swapped out of the base camp, so while you won't simply swap them from a menu like you might in some other RPG, it's still something you can do with relative ease. Each weapon is unique and plays drastically different to the last. Some weapons are light and nimble, others are slower and more powerful, some are technical and require a little more understanding, and others allow you to engage at range. There is no best weapon type in Monster Hunter. All weapons are good, all weapons are viable, and you can ultimately use what you want to take down your target. Speaking of which, when hunting monsters and embarking on your quest, you can do these both solo or with up to 3 other friends to form a team of 4. Content typically scales based on team size, but regardless, in Monster Hunter World, absolutely every quest can be done in both ways. So for the solo players out there, sure, it might be a little more challenging if you don't have friends to back you up, but everything, and I mean everything in game, can be soloed. Even this guy. That is how Monster Hunter has always been. In addition to that, you can also get little cat companions called palicos. These are AI-controlled cats that come on quests with you, they have armor, they have weapons, and they can offer some assistance. They can attack the monster, lay down traps, heal you, or just act as a distraction to take the heat off you in battle. You can customize these little guys too, and you can have one accompany you anytime you go out solo, or with one other player. Any more and they'll just stay at home. However, on top of your base weapon choice, you also have a whole amount of items at your disposal. These items range from things like health potions and stamina stakes to keep you sopped up in battle, items to heal your team or provide you with temporary damage boosts. There are traps you can lay to lock the monsters in place temporarily, allow you to dish out some extra damage, bombs for some added explosive goodness, and new to Monster Hunter World, items called mantles that you can throw on your character like a cape to provide you with some temporary bonuses like the ability to glide through the air, get attacked without flinching, make the monsters chase you, or even hide from its sight. And that's just a small sample of what's available. Items can be crafted or gathered, some of these items go back into your overall armor crafting process and others for quests or resources back at base. In short, there is a lot of stuff to cover in this game, a lot of stuff to learn, and if I went over absolutely everything, then Monster Hunter World would be out before I've even finished. But that, in its most basic form, is Monster Hunter, one of the most rewarding gaming experiences I have ever had. There is honestly no better feeling than going toe to toe with a brand new monster, something you've never fought before, and to begin with it wipes the floor with you, but gradually you learn its move patterns, learn its tells, and eventually you come out on top, you defeat it, you carve it, you defeat it again, and not long after, you're wearing its scales as armor and wielding its horns as a blade. Whether you're playing solo or with friends, Monster Hunter is an incredibly fun and rewarding game with tons of replay value. Over the years, I have sunk thousands of hours into previous entries in the series, and to this day, I'm still not bored. If you've never played before, then Monster Hunter World, launching on January 26th next year, is for sure going to be your best place to jump in. With so many quality of life updates to make your experience much smoother, it also boasts a full cinematic story campaign, so if you've never played Monster Hunter before, this will be a great place to start. But for the time being, that's it. I tried to keep this as short and concise as possible, but if you guys have any questions, by all means drop them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, then a like would be super appreciated. If you want to know more about Monster Hunter World, then I've linked my complete playlist down below, which has more details and a look at all 14 weapons. And of course, for those existing Monster Hunter fans, I'm sure you can all share some hunting experiences in the comments down below. I know you've all got cool stories to tell. Thank you very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.
Welcome to Monster Hunter World. There are 14 distinct weapons in Monster Hunter World, and you're probably not going to love them all. This series prides itself in its uniquely different playstyles as dictated by your weapon choice, which means that certain weapons can actually handle like a whole different game. What works perfectly in the mind of one player could be incredibly encumbering for another. In this video I'm going to break down each weapon by what kind of overall damage output you can expect, the weapon's intended range, and overall role for your team. But most importantly, I'm going to give an example of another game or genre that each of these weapons either feels similar to, or its core concepts and tactics can be directly comparable. This should help outside players who are not familiar with Monster Hunter pinpoint a preferred playstyle and then assign it to a corresponding weapon. Sword and Shield. The Sword and Shield is a medium mobility, medium defense, medium attack style weapon that is not only a great all-around weapon for newcomers to start with, but also a reliable backup for high-level players. As we take a look at my very rough approximation of what kind of damage the Sword and Shield will provide across the average hunt, we see a very steady and easily maintainable flow of damage from the Sword and Shield. This weapon keeps you up in the fight very consistently and cuts down on lost time with item maintenance like healing, The sword and shield has a unique ability to actually use items while your weapon is drawn. This makes this a great pick for anyone who doesn't like the idea of constantly having to sheathe their weapon. The sword and shield's playstyle lends itself well to casual players of the Dark Souls series who prefer to have that balanced attack and defense capabilities and don't solely rely on their dodging prowess. This is also a great fit for anyone familiar with the Zelda series and are used to being locked onto a target with shield raised and attacking when the opportunity arises. The sword and shield is the go-to all-around weapon of Monster Hunter World. Longsword. The longsword is a medium mobility, high damage, low defense style weapon that benefits from its wide-reaching attacks that can tear up the monster, but also has a high potential of smacking your teammates if not careful. This makes the longsword a great weapon for beginners to practice with solo, but the skill gap between a novice and an expert with the longsword will be very apparent when playing online. As we look at the damage chart, we see fairly high damage outputs that increase in power the more you charge up your weapon's spirit gauge, and then spikes of damage when performing this weapon's special attacks that extend the spirit gauge while increasing your weapon's overall damage. This means that longsword users will benefit from consistent attacks early on, leading to higher damage output later in the hunt. The longsword's playstyle might appeal to anyone familiar with Musou games like the Dynasty Warrior series. If you like the idea of a multitude of wide-sweeping attacks that are building up to a devastating special attack that you will rinse and repeat, the longsword is the weapon for you. Heavy Bowgun. The heavy bowgun is a low mobility, long range, medium damage weapon that keeps you out of harm's way as long as you don't get charged. The heavy bowgun uses multiple ammo types that can be switched out on the fly. This makes this weapon very versatile to a variety of playstyles. You can go all in with damage with artillery barrages and status ailments, or play a support role, sit back and shoot your teammates with health and damage boosts. The heavy bowgun has pretty consistent medium damage output with decent spikes of damage when your special ammo is charged that can lead into a full auto machine gun style attack or a super high damaging prone sniper shot. The heavy bowgun will be right at home with anyone not familiar with normal third-person roly dodge action games, but for people who feel more at home with shooters and building up damage to unleash a barrage of bullets from afar. Insect Glaive. The Insect Glaive is an aerial combat-focused melee weapon that has high mobility, medium damage, and has a unique mechanic where you send out your kinsect to gather buffs for yourself by targeting certain areas of the monster. The Insect Glaive is easy to start with and throw some attacks around, but it also has one of the highest skill ceilings in the game. Trying to keep up your weapon buffs with strategic aim of your kinsect along with your ability to bounce around in the air to deal damage will make mastery of this weapon all that more rewarding. Looking at the Insect Glaive's damage output, we actually see something quite interesting with this weapon. We see fairly high normal damage output, but with this weapon in particular, you have a very important job for the team, and that is mounting the monster. We see here a drop-off in damage, and that is when you are actually mounted on the monster and you're dealing little to no damage, but the end goal of this is to attack the monster enough while mounted to topple it. This will lead to you and all your teammates having a huge window to lay down damage. The Insect Glaive's playstyle is hard to pin down exactly, but in my opinion it'll be right at home with anyone that liked the mounting mechanic in Dragon's Dogma that has you physically interacting with the monster. The Insect Glaive will keep you closer to the monster than any other weapon, and that's because half the time you'll be riding it. Lance. The Lance is a medium damage
I'm back. Isn't that freaking Monster Hunter look pretty freaking cool? You know, it is one sick looking game. It's another one of those games that's been in my library for like way too long. I haven't really got much playtime into it. So, but right now I'm trying to focus. I mean, you can only play so many games at once. and you try to do more than that, I don't know how you manage it. So let's pop back over into here, and what are we gonna watch next at our next intermission? Right, that's the first thing I should wonder about. Could you swing a real monster hunter sword? That's an interesting topic. Could you swing it? I don't know. I don't know if you could do it. Let's just do a Destiny one, and we'll stick to that for the moment. The whole Destiny chronology. I'm going back to Destiny 1. Is this the better game? I don't know, is it? I'm just gonna put one on here. We'll do the complete story. I still really want to watch this, and this one actually takes it all the way to Destiny 2. So notice I had started it. So I'm gonna pause this one. So here at some point maybe we'll take a look at it. So let me put this down. Oh, I know you can't see that right now. I don't have the desktop viewer going. So let me go back to the Xbox viewer. All right, so we just were down in the Cosmo junkyard and had the huge firefight. Had to take a second. It was awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it was a lot more of a firefight than I was expecting. So let's see what we got going here. We're gonna go to Old Russia. I still wonder why this is still showing there. Did I like not complete it, even though I think I did? Restore your ship's ability for interplanetary travel. I thought I already did this. You know, I don't know if I already did it. I wonder if launching to it. No, I've got to have already done this. Path forgotten. I gotta do the support network. See, I'm pretty sure I did this one already. See, I had 28 kills. What's this? The Dark Within? Alright, let's go to achievements. Maybe that'll tell me. Let's go to activity awards. Maybe that'll tell me. No, I mean, we're doing alright. I guess I could just launch there and find out. What's the worst gonna happen? We'll just go kill some more Fallen. But I'm pretty sure we already did this. So hopefully it'll like tell me as we get down there. I wish he'd tell me as I clicked it. Sir, we've already done this.
There's so little left out here. We were lucky to even find this ship. A Guardian can't do much to protect the city without one. But it needs a warp drive if we ever hope to fight beyond Earth. And that Cosmodrome is the only place I know where we might still
Did I like not pick up the Cosmodrome?
We can do it again.
I mean, did I not pick up the warp drive when I killed the Archon? Oh, that Archon was not easy to kill. We're gonna have to kill him again, maybe. I don't know. Let's see.
A Guardian ship was recently shot down here. If the Fallen haven't gotten to
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
there
yeah.
might be parts we can salvage.
Alright, so where is it? This way? Alright, I see it. Alright, well, let's go in. Let's just see what we gotta do. And since Cryo never spilt milk, if we missed a part of that, I mean, then we missed a part of it. Though I kind of would like to change over and try like Warlock or Titan. So there's some guys there. Take his head off. Take his head off. I feel like it's like a crapshoot. Just wow, that guy was even just right there, ready for me to shoot him. Okay, well, that doesn't always happen. You know, but if guys want to die, they want to die. Don't want to hold them back. Crows scared the hell out of me there. I love playing late at night. I mean, not only are my kids asleep and all that good stuff, and it's quiet, but I love playing late at night because things make you jump or whatever.
The ship's avionics are completely catatonic, but I can't cull their last transmission.
Good. I think I said that last time. It was like deja vu when I said it.
They managed to restore an information hub here, down in the tunnels below. We
Okay.
should check it out.
Then we should do that. Now, we did this before and we had to fight an Archon. And I thought it said that we had picked up our, warp core, but apparently maybe we didn't. Maybe we could get that player to go in with us. Let's see, I don't know if anybody, how you do this stuff even. I mean, I could follow that guy, but I mean, we already did this. And I think we instance, you know, the same, right? So, even if I follow that guy, I don't think we instance at the same time. I think once we get pulled out of the instance, does he climb? I think that once we do it, we're kind of done. On our solo, you know, that it's an individual instance. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. There's a level 36er out there. I don't know what he's up to. So where do you want me, Ghost? Down there. Alright. I don't know. I feel like we've already done this and we're just repeating it. I wish there was a way I could tell if I already did this. And if I completed it successfully, and this is just a remnant, so you can go back and do it again if you want. So I really feel like I completed it. And I really feel like I'm wasting time at this moment. Alright, so let's take that feeling out of this. Let's go to orbit. I do want to try a warlock. Maybe we'll start a warlock character. I don't know. So log out me and log out that character. Hey, and when it said snap party, I wonder if they just took from people that were right there. That's interesting. So like we have this Titan Awoken male that I'd started to make. And then we have the Warlock, which I kind of think is going to be cool. And I think it has to be Awoken. Like I think his face right now is kind of cool. I like the skin color. I actually kind of like this because look, you can see the ripples so much better. Let's make his lip color that, and let's go to hair and leave him bald. What do you think, bald? He's gonna be a warlock. Kind of cool. Interesting. All right, that kind of is the look I'm looking for, I think. So let's go with lip color is fine. Eye color, let's go right here. And for lip color, let's go right here. No. Let's go right here. No. Right here. I don't know, I'm not a broad, but I do want it to look nice. Yeah, not that nice. You could go with the whole goth look. The black lips. And he is a wizard, of course. Let's take a look at this hair, too. I don't know. Maybe that one? I wonder if his eyes can be black. His eyes can be white. I don't know. Looks kind of cool. See the magic kind of coursing up through his face. Let's see. But we'll go with the definite look that he's, you know, alien. I think that's fine. What are the markings we have available? Anything that make us look kind of... Alright, I mean it makes us look kind of arcane, right? Especially if we put them in black or gold or white. No, I think we stick with black. Kind of gives them a certain look. I don't know. Yeah, that's fine with me right there. That looks good. I mean, it's alright. How about this one? I like that because it kind of ties in with the eyes and hair. Alright. Looks good to me. I guess I had been muted the whole time. I thought I was talking. It's always nice. So I'm not sure whether or not we got the warp drive with the hunter. But I also want to try a warlock. And I also don't know on this demo if any of this translates over. So I think I hit a button. That's alright. We've seen the intro a couple times now. Cosmodrome, Old Russia, Earth. So they all start pretty much the same place, it looks like. Awesome.
Is it possible? There you are. Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian. It worked. You're alive. You don't know how long I've been looking for you. I'm a ghost. Actually, now I'm your ghost, and you? Well, you've been dead a long time. So you're going to see a lot of things you won't understand. This is fallen territory. We aren't safe here. I have to get you to the city. Hold still. Don't worry, I'm still with you. We need to move fast.
Alright, so here we go.
We won't survive long out in the open like this. Let's get inside the wall.
So, same start for each character type.
Okay, I need to find you a weapon before the Fallen find us. Quiet. They're right above us. Hang tight. Fallen thrive in the dark. We won't. We need more light. I'll see what I can do. Another one of these hardened military systems. And a few centuries of entropy working against me.
Oh, good to see.
Here, I found a rifle. Grab it.
Alright, maybe we should do that.
I hope you know how to use that thing.
Yeah, you and me both.
Eyes forward. Watch your tracker.
So we know up and around the corner here we'll face a couple. Like right here. Alright, take those guys out pretty quick. Alright. I haven't seen a difference on the mage yet, but I'm sure there will be one. Oh, that was cool. Blasted him. There's the difference. Well, one of them, I'm sure. Alright, there was a bunch of them in here. Oh, that was kind of cool. Now we're Mr. Good Stuff. Who do you think you are? Hey, are you alright?
Keep it up.
I just want to check and make sure.
A loot cache. Let's see what's inside.
Let us do that. Alright, what do we get? So a Preacher MK20, huh? So what is that, a shotgun? Oh yeah, so we get the same thing the Titan does. I mean, that's okay. We gotta get up close and personal, that could be handy, right?
Trip mines. Don't touch them.
Alright, so we're moving forward. Wow, I love the mage blast, that's cool. Seems to be working to our advantage. Take a blast to the head, right? What's up, Drag?
The Fallen have a tighter hold on this place than I thought. Just a little bit further. Let's hope there's something left out there.
Alright, not doing too bad. The mage thing's kind of cool. Alright. And now I'm just trying to see what it affects. Alright, we're good. Alright, I'm gonna keep you guys going on the fact that I have magical powers.
This was an old cosmodrome. There's got to be something we can fly out of here.
There you go. No, don't agree.
Incoming! Fallen ships, this close to the surface. Move!
Damn it. You ended up right in my face. I kind of expected if you just run in, you were gonna die. That was interesting. He just stands out there fucking begging me to shoot him. God damn it. Where the hell is this fucker? Oh shit.
I'm picking up
Well,
signs
that's
of an old
good.
jump ship. Could be our ticket out of here.
Not gonna beat myself up, you know. I could have done better. What's going on? Call up a in. He's just barking at the dog next door. Call him in. Yeah, they were just barking at the dog next door. You can sit back outside. You're safe. I love you. If you just have her out, she won't go off and bark.
There's a ship. Clear them out.
Alright, so you know, the mage isn't a charging guy. Go figure. Just having a little fun with those when we can, you know. Just sometimes you're like, well, let's see how far we can get just charge in there and see if we can tear them out. So let's take a quick break. Oh, let's see. Mission.
Greetings, Guardians. My name is Bife here. So a lot of you are either new to Destiny and want to jump in at Destiny 2 for the first time, or alternatively, you've been playing the game for 3 years now and you know nothing about what's going on. It's time to fix that. This video is going to go over the entire story of Destiny leading up to Destiny 2. Now keep in mind, I'm going to include everything that I think is really important for newly minted players or someone who's just jumping back into the world again, so that you can all understand the base story and the world that Bungie has constructed. So don't expect me to jump into too many deep stories. For example, I'm not going to be exploring the Book of Sorrows or full achievements of the Iron Lords. I'm certainly not going to be talking about Dredgen Yor and Jaren Ward because their story is not too relevant to everything we do in-game. And I'm also going to be avoiding things about mysterious topics that we have clearly got so much left to discover, such as the Nine. Regardless, I have a few other things to say before we start. Firstly, note that whenever I go into the City Age portion of this video and all of the history of Destiny, things are going to get a little bit nondescript, and that's purely because we don't have a lot of timeline references for what happened when in the City Age. The way that I'm presenting this is going to be the most logical string of events, and hopefully it's something which is close to the most accurate version of events. Also, there are two people that deserve shoutouts for the help that they've given on this video. The first of which is Octavius, who has helped create a lot of the skeleton for this script, which is now about 17 pages long. He most certainly worked his heart out for this, and I know that he is someone who deserves praise as a result. And secondly, Xander, who is the one who has done a lot of the graphics work and doing cutouts of the various Guardians that are being represented throughout Destiny's timeline. Thanks and praise for both of those two in the comments section would be greatly appreciated. They have put a lot of work into this video just as I have. But without much further ado, let's begin. Starting with the modern day, and principally with an event that will change humanity forever. Imagine that tomorrow, when you all wake up, you turn on the morning news and all of a sudden you see that a mysterious object has appeared over Mars. This is the premise for the start of our modern timeline to Destiny. Something where all of a sudden humanity is presented with the notion that they are indeed not alone in the universe. And 14 months later, humanity has prepared its response. The globe has, for but a small period of time, united, and the astronauts of America, taikonauts of China, and cosmonauts of Russia have each chosen one of their best to take on this great honor and responsibility of the first manned mission to Mars, the mission that would live in history and would be known as Ares 1. These three would then take it upon themselves to explore the surface of Mars, to approach the unknown object, and to understand what had happened. Mars, of course, is a planet with little to no atmosphere, and yet when Ares 1, the craft, came down onto the Martian surface, it came down in the middle of a storm, the breath of God as the wind rattled off of their craft. This was no coincidence. As the three explorers left their craft and set their sights upon the alien object, they realized for the first time one of its functions. It was terraforming Mars. And so, together, an astronaut, a cosmonaut, and a taikonaut stood and bore witness to the first Martian rains, and set their eyes upon the traveler. This would begin what is known as humanity's golden age, a time of incredible accomplishment in which humanity has made so many wonders that have now been lost. Human lifespans, for starters, were tripled. Those that lived to 100 in our day would be seen as some of the most long-lived of our species, but in their times, 90 was considered to be young. 300-year-old humans finally existed. All fundamental hatreds and intolerances quickly vanished, and, in a similar sense, the peoples of many nations merged. Nations meaning so much less when the people themselves are united in a common understanding that was born from this simple idea that we were not bound for our petty grievances and poorly thought out wars, but instead, we were born to conquer the stars. Our culture became founded in reasoning, intellectualism, and science, supporting core principles of debate on all sides and on all topics. Centers were founded in the name of progress and reason. The Ishtar Academy on Venus, for example, or the city of Freehold in the dusty red sands of Mars. And then there were other great human marvels. The Baikonur Cosmodrome was set into a massive center of exploration and colonization, and the great metropolis cityscapes of Titan rose above the waves. Truly, these are some of humanity's greatest miracles. Our technology advanced tenfold as well. The Centers of Science and Reasoning in the Ishtar Academy on Venus discovered an ancient alien race and their ruins. These were the Vex, and they had existed for many millennia before we had. But even then, there were greater discoveries still made by Clovis Bray. The fourth state of matter, known as engram, was finally unveiled. This is a state in which data was free from the physical restraints of matter, and in which all sorts of ideas could be created and stored with the simplest of actions. But there were so many more inventions than simply these. Take the war mines, for example, which were the pinnacle of Golden Age technology. From their massive complexes of underground bunkers, they could go forth, bearing weapons capable of scorching the skies of 1,000 worlds black with dust and fire. With their vast artificial intelligence, they could draw up battle plans to counter and defeat the most ingenious of foes in but the blink of an eye, and with their armies of constructs and frames, they could shatter regimes and blunt offensives from entire legions, one at a time or all at once. These were some of humanity's greatest weapons in the Golden Age, our greatest defenders. But in addition to this, came yet more curious forms of life. The Ahamkara are one of particular note, but there are none as well known to us now as the Exos. These sentient machines appear to have been created by the Clovis Bray Corporation as well. It's speculated by some that these are humans who are able to transfer their consciousness into a mechanical body and thus, theoretically, live forever. Regardless, science by this point had advanced so much that the Exos were considered as valid members of society, just as anyone else would be. Though their programming also hints that their nature is a more violent one. They are built and programmed for a relentless war, some great battle long ago forgotten. This is remembered as every single one of them dreams of the Deep Stone Crypt, where they fight an army of thousands of those that they know. But finally, yet another of the inventions of the Clovis Bray Corporation would be once more something that would bear fruit during the Golden Age and its colonization efforts. The invention of a nanotechnology that could be programmed into anything imaginable. This was Siva. It could be simply directed with one's own will, and could do anything from creating habitation to rebreather suits. Such was the marvel of Siva as a technology that immediately it began to be used by Golden Age colonists looking to expand out into the stars. At this point, humanity's greatness shone like a beacon in the night, illuminating the stars and convincing us that our destiny was not to remain on Earth alone, falling prey to our petty squabbles from so many years ago, but was instead to ascend to greater heights. But as Icarus and Daedalus learned in the stories of old, pride can quickly turn to hubris. And so it was the way for us. Our Golden Age and its days of glory were numbered. From beyond the reaches of our solar system, the Warminds detected something, a subtle set of signs, but they knew how to interpret their meaning. Something was approaching, something that spelled our doom. It was at this moment that the Exodus Project truly began, our great effort to save our people from near certain annihilation. Millions of people were loaded onto colony ships, bound for destinations beyond the reaches of the oncoming catastrophe. But in spite of our efforts, in spite of the work of all the Warminds, in spite of the subminds like Malahiyati, and in spite of General Chen Lanshu and her valiant efforts, it was too little, too late. As the thousands of vessels began to reach the outer edges of the asteroid belt, something terrible began to sweep through the solar system. The Warminds raised their mighty weapons to respond with forceful blows that could shatter the stars, and yet even this could not stop the oncoming tide. This force swept through the space that we had known and conquered and decimated all that stood in its way. Those unfortunate enough to be on board the colony ships died in their stasis pods, and the debris from the destruction caused the creation of a vile wreath of dead ships and orbiting stations in the asteroid belt. The rubble from this terrifying event still remains to this day. In the chaos and struggle, the Warmind Rasputin, the first and greatest of the Warminds, the very defender of Earth itself, our home planet, the jewel of our stars, could comprehend the terrible power of this new threat. It was not simply the many alien races that had come and conquered our diverse territories. No, this was something more powerful, something that reached beyond the bounds of the physical universe, something that defied simple causality, something that could even bend the universe to its will, much like the Traveler could. This was our ultimate enemy, the one that we would come to know as the Darkness. This terrible miasma that would wind its way through every coiled path, choking and draining the life from all that it touched. But even here, Rasputin could sense yet another threat. The Traveler was on the move. Once more it was leaving the system, and without the Traveler, all of humanity was certainly doomed. What happened next is not clear. Records of this time are all but lost, our best source being the journals of Cade 6. They speak of a terrible time of cataclysm, of how the darkness took hold of entire worlds and every living being on those worlds, taking each of them individually in its grasp, leaving them in agony but allowing them to maintain their clarity of vision. It wanted them to see this. It wanted them to see the engulfing of worlds around them, letting every last one of them, every lost life, echo undeniably with one bit of knowledge. Our worlds no longer belonged to us. They belonged to the darkness, and our destruction at its hands were for the sin of our strength not being great enough. Some speculate that what happened next was the actions of Rasputin, who might have attacked the Traveler in order to prevent its departure. Others state that the Traveler simply took pity upon us all and would have died regardless to save us. And some still state that the Traveler was not retreating at all, but merely trying to find the perfect patch of ground from which it might be able to battle the darkness. But what is clear is this: the darkness and the Traveler both battled above Earth in a contest of power that would shake the heavens and the very foundations of the universe. And what is more, the Traveler won. Crippled and broken but victorious, in those last moments of its dying breath, the Traveler created the Ghosts, small autonomous drones filled with its light. These ghosts would be the salvation of humanity, by seeking out those amongst the long dead who would be capable of wielding the Traveler's light as a weapon. Something to fight back the darkness, something that could save us. Whilst they would first be known as the Risen, and would eventually be called Warlords or Iron Lords, these brave souls chosen to fight again within the Traveler's light would be known to us today by a single name. They would be known as the Guardians. On the fringes of the solar system, just as this was occurring, yet another new form of life was appearing. With their grey skin and the potent mixture of both light and darkness running through their veins, the Awoken began to first appear. But even on the horizon, there was yet more ill news. Strange and deadly alien forces that had arrived with the collapse were encroaching still on the territories of what remained of our Golden Age colonies. These four races would come to be known by the remaining peoples of Earth as the Fallen, Hive, Vex, and Cabal. And so, with humanity crippled, our Golden Age lost and our system being overrun by hostile forces, the near-apocalyptic events that would come to be known as the Collapse came to a close, and the Dark Age of humanity began. At first, there were very few people who remained united. Some formed into small towns and banded together for safety, but many on Earth came to be ruled over by the Warlords. These were some of the first Risen, who instead of using their power for good, would come to use their powers for dominance. They ruled over Earth and would use their powers to control the vast tracts of its territory. In opposition to these forces, however, there were some that stood against the despair of autocracy that had been wrought, some who stood against the tyranny of the Warlords and stated that hope should still be at the center of the human life. Everyone deserved a chance. Led by a man named Radagast, the first protectors of humanity would rise to defend us. They would be known as the Iron Lords, and whilst refugees and small towns cowered under the tyranny of the Warlords, the Iron Lords came to their defense, liberating them and defending those who stood against tyranny. All the while, there were refugees still seeking a place to call home. Long, continuous columns of exo-survivors, humans cropping up from everywhere, the occasional Awoken travelling far from their reef-born home. Many travelled to below the Traveller, to the spot of its final climactic battle with the darkness. These refugees would organise into a massive camp, defended once more by those risen with the Traveller's light, great men and women like Reza Lazir. But as time went on, the dissolution of those within this camp of refugees turned into something more violent. rudimentary factions began to rise, each with their own opinions on how we should lead humanity back to prosperity. From these differences, the first faction wars arose. Had it not been for those that stood and stopped the terrible violence, humanity might well have been snuffed out right then and there. But from the aftermath of this first faction war, the leaders of the city created a new system of governance. The factions would be forever tempered by each other's wills, as well as the newly created Vanguard, a council of 3 guardians, one of each discipline: Hunter, Warlock, and Titan. All proposals would be voted upon and would be sent to the Speaker, the Grand Leader of the city, and the ruler of the Guardian Orders. All of this had to go through him for approval. And so the passion of the factions was put in check, the authority of the Guardians was made clear, and the first ever consensus council of the city resolved to be better and greater than those that came before. And that resolve would soon be put to a test. For the next challenge would not come from within, but from without. The alien races that had arrived in force at the close of the collapse had taken root in both our outer colonies and in the vast territories on Earth, from the Mumbai Push to the European Dead Zone, from the swamps of old Chicago to the abandoned Cosmodrome at Baikonur. With this, the city had to face against incursions by one particularly craven alien race, known as the Fallen. Previously, they had been known as Elixni, but these bipedal aliens had changed ever since they had been uplifted by the Traveler. It had left them too, and this had turned them from a once noble race into a race of spider-like pirates, scavengers, forever hunting the Traveler, or the Great Machine, as they called it in their time. They sought to return it to their fold, so that their species might hopefully enjoy the bounties of a second golden age as a result. But this would not be accomplished without bloodshed. And so what started as a small band of raiding parties taking on a small settlement evolved into a perpetual siege that would define the very existence of those that lived within the walls of this small city. And so, in response, the Titans of the city devised a plan. They built a great series of walls to encompass the city and keep those that they protected safe from harm. And so the walls were built, the city grew, and those within this final bastion found some small vestige of harmony. This is not to say that the city was the only place in which humans dwelled. Many towns within the wilds of Earth, such as the fabled settlement of Palamon, still stood, providing shelter and respite for those outside of the city. But such small towns, whilst occasionally raided by the Fallen, were but petty distractions. The true prize for the Fallen was the Great Machine itself, that rested in the sky above this last safe city, this well-defended bastion. And so, day by day, they sat in envy of humanity, until that envy became too great to contain. The House of Devils, located primarily within the abandoned territories of Europe, Russia, and Asia Minor, marched upon the city in force, bringing the full might of their house to bear. This was a true test of the city's new defenses, which had only recently been erected. But the Titan orders of the city were prepared. 4 orders of Titans came together and with coordination and steel held a defense that covered the 6 approaches of the city. The Fallen's artillery roared, and their legions of soldiers howled 1,000 curses at the battle lines of the city. But by the time the dust had settled, the Devils were forced to retreat en masse, and not a single one of these 6 fronts had broken. This was the first true trial of the city and its defenders, and from this day forth would be known as the Battle of the 6 Fronts. It would forevermore be remembered as a symbol that marks Titan iconography to this day, and would also give rise to some of the most legendary guardians the city has ever known. But most importantly of all, this marked the beginning of a new age, an age where humanity could find newly restored hope under the Traveler's shadow. This would be known as the City Age, the time where we started to fight back. In the aftermath of the Battle of the 6 Fronts, one of the most notorious defenders of the city was a warlock who was said from eyewitness reports to have appeared as if he was fighting in multiple places all at once. The name of this powerful warlock was Osiris, and so great was his power that many of the other heroes of the city began to rally around him, most notably the honored exo-titan known as Saint 14. He called upon the speaker to appoint Osiris to the vanguard as its warlock mentor. Such was the speaker's relationship to Saint 14 that the two took to each other's words with great care. They even referred to each other as father and son. And so Saint 14, joining the chorus of supporting voices, convinced the speaker to appoint Osiris to the warlock vanguard position. To join them, going even as far as to take him as his own apprentice, to teach him what he knew, so that one day perhaps he might become the new speaker for the traveller. However, there was one dissenting voice amongst the cheerful applause when this decision was made. Lysander of the Concordat, a faction that had grown in the infancy of the city, stated that Osiris was a mistake, that he had been misincarnated, a faulty resurrection by a damaged ghost perhaps, or maybe simply someone who wasn't supposed to be a guardian. His claims were quickly dismissed, and the consensus continued its work, with Osiris now as one of the most senior members of its council. Meanwhile, as some new legends rose, others were sadly doomed to fall. The Iron Lords had grown considerably in their strength and had conquered the warlords entirely from their fortress temple at Vostok Observatory. From above, they watched over the vast lands of our forefathers and kept a steady vigil, defending the city and the rest of humanity from afar. But as their ranks swelled to hundreds and the fires of the Iron Temple grew stronger, their leader, Radagast, was filled with discontent. Him and many of the other Iron Lords sought a way to rekindle the Golden Age that they had lost. Lord Timur believed that he had discovered it, in the form of a Golden Age technology left behind by Clovis Bray, namely, Siva, the nanotechnology that could not only aid in the colonization efforts so far out in the far-flung colonial worlds, but could also reconstruct the marvels of humanity's Golden Age here at home, returning us to our place amongst the stars. But Radagast, who held so firmly to his belief that the technology of the past was the key to our future, was blinded to the true danger that Siva presented. More than 100 Iron Lords marched into the Cosmodrome to reclaim Siva, but Rasputin, who still maintained control of the nanotechnology, gave a directive to the billions of nanites that would spell doom for the Iron Lords. The directive was simple, 3 words initiated upon finishing a conversation he'd had with the Iron Lord Exo Warlock, Fellwinter. These 3 words: replicate, eliminate, immunize. And with that, Siva was unleashed upon the Iron Lords within the northeastern sector of the Cosmodrome, breaking them and consuming them all, one at a time. Only 9 Iron Lords managed to reach the replication chamber that was the source of all the Siva. In the end, Lady Yolda set off an explosion and sealed the doors of this chamber, thus preventing more Siva from escaping out onto the surface. By the end of the battle, the Iron Lords were crippled. Only 2 Iron Lords remained. The hunter, Lady Ephrodite, who quickly fled and abandoned her warlike ways for a path of peace, and Lord Saladin, who would be the lone sentinel to stand over the Iron Temple and watch its braziers dim once more. All the while, more threats were marshalling, and the city once again would have to face these terrible threats. Without the Iron Lords defending the territories of Earth or pushing back the fallen houses further, the city became vulnerable once more. And so, the Fallen once again began to create a great plan to reclaim the Traveller. However, in the light of the Devil's failure at the Battle of the Six Fronts, it was clear that no single house could conquer the city. And so, 4 fallen houses united to attack the city in unison. The houses of Devils, Kings, Winter, and Wolves united their forces into one of the greatest armadas that the system of Sol had ever borne witness to. and they began their march to Earth, so that eventually, even after a long bloody battle, they might finally stand atop the corpses of those humans that had defied them previously, and together reclaim the Great Machine. The might of these four houses combined would have been crushing to the city, particularly with the House of Wolves, who maintained a mighty fleet and a vast army of over 1 million fallen soldiers. And so, the Fallen descended upon the city, and the greatest battle that we had ever seen within the city's walls ensued. The defense of the city was to be taken up by 3 guardians. Lord Saladin, the former Iron Lord, would coordinate the defenses with his 2 protégés, Commander Zavala and Lord Shax. They would each take command of considerable forces within the city's walls, and all 3 were vital to the defense. Once again, the Guardians took to the walls, which were now heavily defended with salvaged weapon emplacements and thousands upon thousands of combat frames. Warlocks worked in concert, using great waves of void and solar light to drown the oncoming waves of fallen aggressors. The Titans manned the walls of the city with zeal and fortitude like they had done before, and the golden guns of the gunslingers rang out in song to answer the onslaught. But in spite of it all, the efforts of our great defenders weren't quite enough. The Fallen made significant advances, and eventually tore a hole in our defenses at Twilight Gap. With but a single breach in the walls and the city's defenses, our defenders could all in time be outflanked, and every last one of them could be brought to their knees. Whilst Lord Saladin ordered a tactical retreat, Lord Shax took action. He disobeyed this order and took all of the combat frames under his command, sending them to flood the breach, plugging the hole. He himself was found at the heart of this battle, along with the Guardians under his command, holding the line in spite of the lack of fortification, holding against almost all odds. The magnitude of this decision should not be understated. The frames and forces that Lord Shax had committed to the breach were vital parts of the defense force of the city. If his gambit failed, the city was doomed. There would not be enough forces to hold on the waves as all others retreated to the secondary lines of defense. But luckily for us, the gambit worked. The breach was plugged, and Lord Shax stood victorious with his frames atop a mountain of fallen corpses. The battle was won, and the city lived to see another day. The House of Devils, Kings, and Winter lay defeated. But what of the House of Wolves and their millions of soldiers? They had been noticeably absent from the Battle of the Twilight Gap, and this was no accident. Despite the bravery of Lord Shax and his forces that day, the city's true savior lay far out in the vacuum of space. Within the territories of the Reef, an awoken monarchy had begun to grow in power. This was the Vestian dynasty, and from their fold many noble names and houses rose, with an entire society at their heels. This was absolutely departed from the city. The Awoken as a society were matriarchal, fiercely territorial, a spacefaring people with an isolationist streak that demanded that they should live without revealing their presence to others. But before the Battle of the Twilight Gap, the 6th monarch of the Vestian dynasty, the 6th ruler and the throne beneath the Howling Dark, Mara Sov, Queen of the Awoken, was gifted with a choice. The House of Wolves had positioned their fleet at the asteroid of Ceres, and were poised to move further into the core worlds to strike at Earth when they had refueled from the asteroid's bounty. The Wolves had breached Awoken space and had violated their territorial borders in doing so, leaving Mara Sov with 2 choices. She could simply let the Wolves pass, letting their violation of Awoken space go unanswered, and thus dooming the city. Or alternatively, she could engage the Wolves at her door, showing them that the Awoken of the Reef were not a force to be trifled with. 2 choices, one of peace potentially, and the other of certain war. A choice that would affect millions across the solar system, both human and Awoken, not to mention the Fallen. And Mara Sov chose war. She unleashed a weapon upon the fallen House of Wolves fleet called the Harbinger. This was a powerful enough weapon to destroy over half of their ships and more than 500,000 fallen soldiers, along with the entire asteroid of Ceres in the process. This would mark the beginning of a series of deep space sieges and great skirmishes known as the Reef Wars, where the House of Wolves, led by its newly founded Kel Skolas the Rabid, would face off against Mara Sov and her awoken paladins of the Reef. In the end, thanks to the intervention of Variks, a fallen scribe of House Judgment, Skolas was captured. Variks and the Queen offered the fallen of the Wolves a choice: either join and serve nobly under Mara, or join Skolas and languish within the prison of elders. Most of the Wolves joined Mara, given that their succession rules actually dictated that she technically should be their leader. She had slain the former Kel when she unleashed the Harbingers, and Skolas had merely picked up the pieces. But she paid for this victory with many awoken lives. In the end, however, as a consequence of her actions, whether she meant it or not, whether she knew that it would be a bargaining chip later in her existence, or whether it was completely unexpectedly, she had saved the city with that choice. And back on Earth, they had sorely needed such relief. The Battle of the Twilight Gap had left the city weakened and desperate. The leader of the Concordat, Lysander, had chosen at this time, when the city was at its weakest and its defenders were weary, to rise up against the Speaker. But this rebellion was swiftly crushed by the troopers and guardians that had aligned themselves with New Monarchy. Their final battle at Bannerfall shows still the scars that Lysander has left on this city. Lysander himself spent the rest of his time in exile, fleeing the boundaries of our walls, leaving for the wilds, planning his inevitable return, plotting all the while. In the meantime, the Concordat was officially disbanded, and a new faction was chosen to join the Council of the Consensus, namely the Future War Cult. This sudden rebellion by Lysander, along with the major wounds that the Fallen had dealt to the city's defenders, led those within the city of great inspiration to come up with ways to improve our defenses and to hone our skills once again, if we would be attacked in the future. For these measures, we would most certainly be stronger. Faisal Crux and Victor Lomar of the Crux Lomar Foundry were some of the first. They decided to honor the guardians that had fallen under the banners of the city at Twilight Gap, and they made such honors within a new weapons project from their foundry known as Project Heimdall. This honored those that had died in service of the city, forging their armor into a design of immense power, the Yalahorn shoulder-mounted launcher system, a weapon that roared with the fury of those guardians that had fallen in battle and allowed their light to fight on even after they had perished. Meanwhile, Lord Shaxx had a plan of his own. Many of the guardians that had died at Twilight Gap may well have been veterans of great skill and power. Legends may have been lost in that battle that may never have been replaced, and replacing them with younger guardians who were less wise left the city unquestionably weaker, not to mention the thinned numbers. So, Lord Shaxx presented the Consensus with a plan to clear out small portions of land and turn them into training areas in which guardians would battle each other to hone their skills and earn glory. The approval for such a training system was given, and for the first time guardians faced each other in the greatest challenge they had ever been provided. This would be a new venue, a new sport, a new pastime, but most importantly, it would be the moment in which the Crucible was founded. Eventually, the Crucible games grew to such a great magnitude that even for those in the city it became a televised pastime, with gambling on matches becoming commonplace and citizens wearing proudly the colors of their most beloved Crucible champions. Legends such as Thalor, Dredgen Yor, and Pahanin rose to prevalence because of the Crucible. At such a founding time of the Crucible, the city was still weakened, and so such happiness as being elated by the victory of a champion was far off. The city was still in its weakened state at this point, and so little time for such frivolity was found. This, of course, not only included the regular citizens of the city, but also those on the Consensus Council and the Vanguard. Our next tale turns to Osiris, who of course as a member of the Vanguard was central to the question of how the city should be defended, and he saw only one answer: He saw that the Fallen, the Hive, the Vex, and the Cabal weren't truly our enemy. No, they were puppets. Puppets of a darker power that moved beyond the system's edge, slowly regrowing in magnitude and strength. Whether they were conscious and willing like the Hive, or unconscious and uncontrollable like the Fallen, they all served as but a distraction, as a means of weakening the city by attrition. The true enemy was the darkness, and Osiris believed that if we were to defeat the darkness, we would need to understand it. So at this time of great cost and great peril to the city, Osiris began to stray away from his duties as a Vanguard mentor. Instead, he chose to dabble in taboo, exploring thanatonautics, the art of gleaning knowledge from beyond death. He chased the dragons of the Ahamkara for yet more of the lore surrounding them and their mysterious bargains, and even went on a hunt for the agents of the Nine, the mysterious organization that occasionally visited the city with one of its agents, bringing incredibly rare gear in the process. By this point, Osiris had become a cult of personality amongst the guardians of the city. In the end, him and the Speaker were found at odds because of these taboo practices. Master and apprentice one day gathered in the Speaker's chambers. What was said that day is not recorded, but it is known that Osiris left that day in exile, taking many of his followers with him. Whether this was by his own choice, or by the Speaker's decree, is something not known, even to this day. However, his influence would have long-lasting effects on the tower, for many of those who had followed Osiris remained within the city, following his ways with their actions, if not with their feet. Whilst all of this was happening, there was one who decided to take it upon himself to be the vengeance of the city. The Titan Saint 14, who had originally called for the appointment of Osiris to the Vanguard, had studied well the codex of the Firebreak Titan Order, and had come to a single conclusion. The best defense for the city was a strong offensive campaign of retribution, and so he began what would be known as the Crusades of Saint 14 against the Fallen Houses, decimating their forces that still surrounded the city wherever he found them. As each of these great houses was dealt a significant blow, the city ignited flares in great colours to celebrate Saint 14's victory. After enough time and destruction, all that remained was the fallen House of Devils and their Kel Solkis. The Kel and Saint 14 engaged each other in single combat, and it looked at first as though the mighty Titan had at last found his match. The Kel was strangling him to death with but one of his 4 mighty arms. As a final desperate gambit, Saint 14 summoned all the light that he had left, all the remaining strength, and channeled it into a single mighty blow. The Kel of the House of Devils fell. His skull caved in from a single blow from Saint 14's own skull. With such a mighty feat accomplished, Saint 14 contacted the Speaker, and was informed by him personally that they would like the